fees.
Okay.
And then there's gallivanting all over the United States. We have enough to do right here in York that a full-time mayor should need to be here in York all the time.
I agree with that.
And be concerned about here as opposed to every place else.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, if you're hard to work, here is where you should be, you know. You ain't hard to work in another country or something.
What's the salary for it? Take care of the people.
Yeah.
The primary responsibility of the mayor is to enforce the codified ordinances of the city. And all you have to do is drive around, look at the overgrown lawns, look at the code violations. That's the reflection of the mayor's office. And that is something that I almost am afraid of once I get in, because there's so much work to be done because of taking over from a part-time mayor and turning it into a full-time job.
Yeah, this now, you know, as a citizens code inspector, which is what I am too. By
Okay, good.
We went to those classes, we got this, and we get a number, and so we as a citizens were trained to look for the things to notify the codes what we see of violations, and they're supposed to go and take care of them. They don't do this.
Right.
They don't,
Well,
they don't do
apparently,
That's the failure of the system. That's
from
what
they
that's
tell
what
us,
changed.
Yeah.
there's so many complaints and it's so overwhelming, and the bureaucracy that they have to go through before they can do anything about it is almost ridiculous.
It takes too long.
And it's selective enforcement, because to me, what it looks like to me is they go after the people they think will pay the bill. And they don't go after the people that they won't pay the bill. For example, just for example, you don't see them citing people for urinating in public because they're the bums and they have no money.
They go after.
If they tow your car, they figure you own a car.
Okay.
They selective enforce near the college because they know that the college parents will make sure that the fine is paid. Do
But
you see them doing that same enforcement in the 300 block of South Queen Street? No.
Let me give you another example real quick. Now I'm going to show you that I know that the code that they select people they want to violate. Now I'll give you an example. Now I can tell you a person that I know personally, Jerry Zimmerman. Jerry Zimmerman, for example. Now, okay, we know how hard it is. We call about a code, and there's a violation, they don't come.
Right.
Jerry Zimmerman works at the police substation, and they had a meeting there one night, so she cleaned up the trash and put it in a bag. Somebody, when she had to go somewhere real quick on another meeting and was coming back and was going to give her the trash, put it in the bag, out in the dumpster, somebody went in there, and she knew who it was because they had the key to the building. They took the trash bag, took it to her house in her alleyway, and opened up and threw it all in her alleyway. And guess what? Then they called the codes on it. Codes came out immediately and fined her money.
You can't even make this up, can you?
Money.
You can't even make this. You can't even make it up.
Me and her talked about that. They came that same day and fined her. Okay.
That's ridiculous.
And isn't that ridiculous? Because if you call on anybody else or many people,
they ain't
they'll
coming.
go, well, we have to give them a 5-day notice. That's fine. That's fine. And then we have to fine them. That's fine.
Right.
Well, and all they do on some of these vacant buildings that are up for tax sales and things, they just keep adding fine after fine after fine. At what point do you just take the building, secure the building, and that's a whole nother issue. The number of buildings in the city of York that have been abandoned. Why can't we start a program where if you know that you can't pay your taxes, you know that you can't pay, that you can deed it over to the city, deed it over to the redevelopment authority, let them get in there and get it secured before it becomes dilapidated. The bank repossessions in the city are just out of hand, and they have been even before the economy got this way. And then they're sitting there legally, even if I live next door to a property where the lawn needs mowed, I'm not allowed to go on that property and mow that grass.
Right.
I can't. Can't we? I don't know if we're allowed to, if it's constitutional. A good neighbor law that if I'm coming onto your property to shovel your snow or to mow your grass, that's okay.
Did you know now? You know, one of the things just to add a little bit to it. I would like to do this anyway. You know, if you're going downtown and the parking meters, and you have to go across to somebody's parking meter about to run out, and you know the meter maid is running up down the street. If you put a coin in those meters to keep from there, you know they'll find you.
Right, right.
They'll find
Yeah.
you for
Right.
that.
There's people that'll go around dropping coins in, keeping the meters going, and that's illegal. Yeah, they come after them.
Yeah.
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 No, the issue, hang on, the issue with what you're talking about, and I can see where the care is there that, look, the lawn next door is overgrown, let me just go over there and mow it. But what happens if somebody gets injured and now you're on somebody else's personal property, private property? That then is probably where the line is.
But
I
who-
think the city
who
has a
mows-
responsibility
who mows
to
the
follow
grass
up on
when
that.
the building's up for repossession by the bank? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear
Okay, I'm sorry. When the bank property's up for repossession from the bank, the city doesn't own it. The bank doesn't own it yet. Joe Schmo owns it. He's left because his roof leaked, so he's just disappeared. And it takes a year sometimes or
Well,
more.
we have to get Dog
before
DeBonny
the
on to
bank
find Joe Smo. We can get him. He'll
before
find
the bank now. When you sign a mortgage with a property, the mortgage actually says that I can't go in and renovate the property without the bank's permission.
Right.
The bank still owns part of that property.
Well, let me
Can't
ask you
we
this.
hold these banks accountable for going in there and mowing? Let them go ahead and make a deal with the neighbor. Let them make an arrangement then with the neighbor who's sitting next to the vacant property where the rodents are breeding and the people are breaking into the basement stealing the pipes.
All right.
Well, let me ask you this. You're saying, okay, so if it takes a year, I don't know if anybody who's going to be able to circumvent that because just the process of all the things going on. But the city should be able to, if the grass is grown, mow it, send a bill. If that's not paid, shouldn't that just be a lien attached that goes on that property with whatever happens to it, the city will be reimbursed, so at least the community doesn't have to suffer with an overgrown lawn? It may take a while for the city to be reimbursed if it takes a year, but clearly we've got to be proactive and not reactive in these situations and get out there and cut these lawns and the city has to be cleaned up.
Yeah, I agree. I guess the only problem
That's a
is
good call.
the city doesn't seem to have enough people to mow the grass that they are responsible for now. Now, what about the city hiring some of the people in the neighborhood to mow the grass? What about the city hiring some of the city residents?
How
What
much
about
are they
them,
going to pay
you
them?
know-
An hourly wage?
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Well, for one thing, if you've got a building next door to you that's been abandoned, if the city owns it, if the redevelopment authority owns it, you could either pay them, reduce their taxes if they actually mow it and keep it up. You could give them, if the redevelopment authority owns it, you could say, look, for as long as this house is here and empty and we're not rehabbing it, you have use of the lawn as long as you mow it.
All right.
You have use of the parking as long as you keep it clean.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So, well, I'm going to get off the phone so you can get other people to call
All right.
in, and I'd like to encourage Steve as far as running for mayor.
Well, thank
and
you.
I hope that people will listen to his ideas and at least give some of these ideas a chance. And York's a beautiful city. It's a wonderful place to live. It's friendly. It's open. The citizens of York, 99.9% of them are wonderful people. There's always a bad apple in every bushel, and we need to weed out the bad apples and either work with them to change their attitudes or they need to move on to someplace else because we want our city back.
Okay. So
That's a good comment
so-
right there. We want our city back. I
So
like that.
that 1% that are bad, aren't they all in jail?
No, they let them back out of jail.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, they
okay.
let
Well, they
That
let
was
them all
yesterday,
back
right?
out of jail,
Okay.
and some of them have mental health issues.
Oh,
And why aren't we
there we go.
doing something to help them with their mental health issues?
I'll tell you what we're going to do.
No.
Here we go.
What I would like to do is set up a specific department within the police department that handles mental health, a different approach towards, because we know that we've got this issue in our city, okay? A mental health unit, if you will. This is something that it's an idea that I need to throw out there.
Don't
It's
you
going to have
already
to go
have
around to some extent.
Yeah.
To some extent, but we have to allow it to work properly because this is an issue. We see a lot. I mean, crazy people walking
I
around the
thought they
streets.
had a unit already doing that. All right. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to
Well,
thank you
thank
for your
you.
call.
Thank
All
you.
right.
All
Let's
right.
get the next caller in
Thank
here.
you.
Let's go to line 2 for Terry. Hello, Terry. You're live with Joe. Hello,
How you
Terry.
guys doing this evening?
How you doing?
Very well,
Okay.
thank you.
Good. First and foremost, I'd like to say, Mr. Young, if you could, win the election, that'd be great.